Okay, we are talking today an interesting halakha, an unbelievable halakha. This halakha was said over yesterday. It's from the halakha yomit. Unbelievable. I'm going to read it in Hebrew. It's called mitzvat hasukah, seudat keva. Bechol yemei chag hasukot, yemei chag hasukot, ben bayom ben malay, asur le'echol seudat keva mechutz hasukah. Any pertinent meal has to be within the sukkah. You can't eat it outside. V'shi'u seudat keva. What's the amount that a person is considered a kiviut? כלומר, כמות האכלה בקדי שנחשיב את הסעודה לסעודת קבע, הוא יותר מקבצה, פת לחם, more than a קבצה of bread. כלומר, 60 grams, 60 grams of pot. And if you want to be more careful, 54 grams. But let's, for this, he says 60. כשאוכל הזה מברך ברכת לשב בסוכה. Okay, so he says when you eat a קבצה, you say לשב בסוכה, אבל פחות משיעור זה מותר לאכול מחוץ לסוכה, less than a קבצה, לפיכך גם אם אכלו בתוך הסוכה, אין מברך על אכילה, זו לשב בסוכה. That's the regular halacha. It's understandable. If you eat a kabetza bread, you have to eat in the sukkah, netat yadayim, birkat hamazon, everything. The question was as follows. Okay, he says, this is the sikum at the end. Asur lechol mechutz hasukah l'seuda im lechem. You can't eat outside of the sukkah any type of bread. That's what he comes out as the bottom line. כאשר אוכל מן הלחם יותר משיעור קבצה, more than a קבצה, שהוא 54 גרם pot, 54 grams. וכאשר אוכל בסוכה שיעור זו, when you eat 54, צריך לברך לפני שאוכל ברכת לשב בסוכה. וכן מי שאוכל עוגה, this is the kicker, בשיעור זה חייב לאכול בסוכה. A person who eats mezonot, 54 grams, right? He has to eat in the sukkah. But he says on it mezonot, because he's eating a mezonot. Let's say he ate one of these croissants, 54 grams of croissants. Okay? He has to make mezonot. But what ends up happening on the mezonot? Ulam in lebarech al achilat uga בסוכה, אלא אם כן אוכל עוגה בשיעור של כ-154 גרם ומעט יותר, שאז עליו לברך על מצוות הישיבה בסוכה. What he's saying here is that when you eat to the extent 100, בשיעור של כ-154 גרם, 154 grams of mezonot, you can end up making a mezonot and doing a lishev BaSakukah. It's the only time where you have to make a lishev BaSakukah when you're not eating hamotzi. Do you understand? You understand it, Yossi? So let's say, yeah, but we're reading from Chama Vadia Yosef, not Harambam. But so what would be? Let's say you think like it never happens, but it could happen. Let's say you're eating a lot of borekas, cheese, potato borekas, and you're eating croissants. You can eat 154 grams of mezonot in the sukkah. We have to measure. I can bring the scale, and then we can measure. It's more than 10 grams each one, much more. They're heavy, and you know. So it's important is that you have to know. You can go into the sukkah, say just a mezonot, and be hayav on the lishev BaSakukah according to Chama Vadia Yosef, and Cham Yitzchak Yosef, same thing.
What do you say first? You say the bracha and then
First say mezonot. Always you say the first one mezonot, and then
some say but mezonot, but hamotzi. Some say first say lishev.
Yeah, but here we're talking about in the mezonot case. It's mezonot and then lishev BaSakukah. He didn't say do lishev first. So whenever I do hamotzi, I always have done hamotzi first and then lishev, unless I do the lishev in the kiddush.
Right.
Sometimes I would do. My father used to do lishev BaSakukah when he did the kiddush. So he would do borei pri hagefen, lishev BaSakukah, and then he would drink.
The lishev before the hamotzi is just more practical because you stand up. So you have to stand and then you sit. So and then you sit. And then once you're sitting, you say hamotzi.
Say hamotzi. Usually, I've seen people do hamotzi sitting, then they get up and say lishev BaSakukah.
It's funny.
But honestly,
I'm not comfortable.
Yeah, just a bunch of the opinions. But you should know, as David is telling us, there's a bunch.
When you stand or when you sit?
When I stand.
It's also something that might be a hefsek. Hamotzi for eating, even though it's probably it's not.
It's always machlokot, but we have to be,
Yeah.
Okay, so what would be the halakha? I'm gonna check. I'll check Rabbi Mansour. Let me see what he wrote on this of how the process. I remember what I do. What I normally do, I've done it as either in the kiddush or I do it before the hamotzi. Let me see what Rabbi Mansour does. I'll check it up online. Yeah, bring me Yaakov Yosef. Let's do that while we're here. We'll check it, and I'll check Rabbi Mansour, and tomorrow I'll give you that answer because I have my phone occupied, so I can't check it up on the spot. Let's continue one more sukkah item until we get the Yalkut Yosef. Under what circumstances would one need to recite Lishev BaSakukah throughout Sukkot? What does one need to eat in the Sukkah? This is coming from the daily halacha moment that comes from Rabbi Netanel Azimov. This is the son-in-law of Rabbi Shlomo Farhi. He lives in Israel. He's Talmid Hacham. He comes up with these English daily halachas. They're really good, and he sources everything so nicely. Every time he gives you got to see these sources. He puts like 20, 30 sources on every single one. I love these guys. They make it easy. They make it easy, They're not no fluff over here. It's just real Torah, the real McCoy. Okay, he says here, Mezonot foods, pat haba bikisnin, that's the terminology. Cookies, crackers, sweetbreads, cakes, any dish made from the 5 grains. What are the 5 grains, guys? What in Hebrew? What's the 5 grains, Yossi? Yeah. This. No, give me in Hebrew. What else? You're missing. You need 3 more. So I'll give you a way so you don't forget. Okay, you ready? Shocheyach. Yeah. How do you remember the 5 grains so you don't forget? The word shocheyach. HaTorah niknet b'simanim. Shocheyach is Rashi Tevot. Shin, what? Chaf, chet. That's good. Shin. Shibolet shu'al, se'ora. Right? You have chet, hita, and you have kusmin, and what else? Shibolet shu'al, kusmin, hita, se'ora. Let's get it again. Shibolet shu'al, se'ora, hita, kusmin, and shibolet. No, shibolet.
No, it says shibolet.
Shibolet.
Vav, what is vav?
No, shocheyach without a vav. Yeah.
So how do you have?
So you have se'ora, shibolet su'al, kusamin, hita, and what's the last one, David? Shocheyach. What are the 5 grains? Yeah, I said that. Kusamin. And which one did I forget? There's another shin. Shifafon, guys. So yeah, shocheyach. You see how I remembered it? I was shocheyach, but with the shocheyach, I was able to get it back. So I told you this Rabbi Nisim Abadi told me this evening. He said, anytime you want to remember anything, make simanim, because you're going to laugh, but they work. Okay, I didn't know all that. I'm on the spot, I did it. What's another funny siman I made of how do you remember all the Megillot? Aleph Kesher. How do you remember all the Megillot? Aleph Kesher. Why? Aleph Echa Esther Kohelet Shira Shirim Rut. You see, on the spot, you got it. You'll be more confident. Okay. So he says here, on the 5 grains, must be eaten inside a sukkah if one is eating more than a kabetza, 54 grams. It's good to note when in the middle of a meal, one may not eat or drink anything outside the sukkah, or even walk outside the sukkah with something in one's mouth. However, Lishev BaSakukah is only recited if one will eat at least 162 grams. He says 162 here. Over here, from the Halacha Yomit, he says 154. Okay. Interesting. Preferably, one should eat 216 grams. That's kabetza. Ashkenazim, however, have a custom to recite Lishev BaSakukah even when eating mezonot that is less than 162 grams. So Ashkenazim, they're saying Lishev BaSakukah all the time when they're eating this mezonot.
There's no chashash at all.
No. It is praiseworthy, especially not Ashkenazim. Yeah. It's praiseworthy to still eat in the sukkah regardless of the measurement of the food that one is eating. If one began eating and remembered that he did not recite Lishev BaSakukah, he may recite the bracha when he remembers. Okay, one may still recite the beracha even if he will not be eating a kabetza of bread afterwards, since as long as one will be eating or even drinking items that are part of his meal, the beracha may still be recited. Okay. However, once one has finished his meal and has no intention to eat or drink anymore, the Lishev BaSakukah may no longer be recited for that meal. Okay, so he has the entire meal to say Lishev BaSakukah, and he just gives you a different 162 grams of Mezonot needs a Lishev BaSakukah, or 154 according to the Halacha Yomit. David, what did you pull up over there?
So a few things. He says.
Wanna show me that one?
Here he's discussing just when to say.
So what does he say? Let's take a look.
I'm looking when this is Ravadia's
This is Chazon. Yeah, that's great. Kitzur Chazon Ovadia.
The first thing he says in
yeah.
They say when to say the bracha of Lishev BaSakukah. So he says on the class of sukkah the horse will have keva. יברך לישב בסוכה בעודו ועומד, ואז ישב ויברך המוציא על הפעם. המברכים ברכת המוציא ואחר כך ישב בסוכה, יש להם על מה שיסמוכו, ואין בזה חשש הפסק בין המוציא לטעימה.
Excellent. Exactly what we said. So he said no. He said before hamotzi. He said stand up before hamotzi. Correct?
The best is to do before hamotzi and then say hamotzi.
Just like my father used to do it.
If you say hamotzi,
He did a kiddush
first,
also sometimes, but he used to do
say
it.
hamotzi first. No, by kiddush is different than kiddush.
Yeah.
Kiddush is different.
He's saying.
By kiddush you first say.
So he's saying chamavaja. Let me read this inside, so we can say it over properly, so we know exactly what chamavaja used to do. Hanichnas lesukah gedei le'echol seudat keva. You're going in to eat your meal. Yivarech leshiv basukah be'odo omed, while you're still standing. Ve'az yeshiv yivarech hamotzi lapat. Very simple. Okay, do a regular kiddush. Wash your hands. You're standing up. Everyone's on the table. Leshiv basukah. You sit and you say hamotzi. Simple.
This is without kiddush. This is not kiddush. This is a regular time you want.
Yeah, but I'm referencing on the day, anytime he wants to eat bread. I'm referencing what's going to be our custom coming tomorrow night.
Oh no, so kiddush is different. Kiddush, I think you say it immediately, no?
But it's just because so there's no.
Oh, let's check that. 1 second.
You walk into the sukkah.
So
you don't say anything. You just say.
No. So the first day I go in, they say all the Lishem Yichuds. There's like a bunch of Lishem Yichuds you do. They do when you come in. 1 second. Let's say someone made hamotzi and then the basukah. It's also okay. So there's absolutely no thing. There's no chashash of hefsek between hamotzi and the basukah. Let's say a person came in, he made the kiddush on the holiday. We're talking about the holiday. I'm going to give the holiday case right now. He made kiddush already. He didn't say the basukah. Okay, he came into the sukkah. He already said hamotzi. Then he remembered. Oh, he didn't bite yet from the hamotzi. Now he has to make l'shem basukah. So he stands up. And he sits back there and he does the beracha and he says there's no hefsek. It's okay. There's no hefsek. Why? They're all tied in together. Hefsek is when you're doing something completely different. He didn't say l'shem basukah. Okay? That's what I.
You don't have hefsek if you say hamotzi. And now you
have to eat
first, no?
No. The basukah is saying it's okay. Yes. He's saying it's okay. He's saying it's okay.
It's not hefsek. I mean,
it's not. You know why it's not hefsek? Because let's say here, Rabbi Meir give the best case. Let's say you're eating hamotzi sitting on the table and there's no salt. You want to put the salt down. So you made hamotzi already. The beracha is already done. You want to? Can you pass me the salt or something like that?
You can say it before you eat?
That's what I remember him saying.
So.
That's what I remember him saying. Did you ever hear that? I remember him.
Between the bracha, I know maybe after
maybe
no, I think that time you could speak for sure.
Before the bracha.
I'm pretty sure you can do it. You could. No, I'm pretty sure I can remember inside. I remember inside that's part of the mitzvah that you can. Yes. After you say the beracha. Okay, well, that will be for our check for tomorrow. We have a few things to check. We're going to check this halacha, and we're going to check that too. No, but I know they're both in regards to what Rabbi Mansur was saying on it. I'm going to check them both up, and we'll look it up. But what is Chamavaja saying? Very simple. This is what he's referencing, like David said, a regular day. Yes. Hanichnas lesukkah kedei le'echol seudat keva. You're going to sukkah knowing you're going to eat a meal that's 216 grams. It's a kabetza. Okay?
No, if it's meaning.
Yes.
Hamotzi is not. You don't need 216.
Le'echol seudat keva.
Yeah, which is hamotzi,
we're talking about. He's talking clearly on bread, and that's Lishev BaSakukah. So bread, Lishev BaSakukah, it would. Oh, it's 100 and.
No, bread is 56 grams.
1 second. 54 here, around 54 for a kabetza.
It's a betza.
54,
56,
54.
60, whatever. Yeah.
Oh, that's the minimum for here.
Okay.
So 54 grams. 54 grams.
For bread.
For bread.
4 kabetzot.
Yes, for Mezonot. So he's going, but he's going in with keva.
Chomra, you have to eat 3 kabetzot. If you're eating 3 kabetzot, Rabbi says, and you eat in a sukkah without a bracha.
3 kabetzot. Mezonot.
Without a bracha.
Yeah.
You need to be in a sukkah.
No, we said today 154 Mezonot. 3 kabetzot. He makes the Lishev BaSakukah.
Even Lishev BaSakukah, you make 3 kabetzot.
That's exactly what we said, David. That's exactly what we were learning. That's exactly why I brought this up today. This was the blockbuster that I said. That's exactly what I told you. He says here, "V'kasher ochel besukah shiur zeh, tzarich leviach lifnei she'ochel berkat Lishev BaSakukah. V'chen mi she'ochel uga, someone who ate cake, cookies, b'shiur zeh. What's the shiur? We said it already. זה חייב לאכול בסוכה, אולם אין לברך הלכת עוגה, אלא אם אוכל עוגה בשיעור זה של כ-154 גרם, 154 או מעט יותר, שאז עליו לברך על מצוות. Unbelievable. This was the blockbuster that I couldn't believe. I learned this is the first time yesterday. That you can eat a certain portion of Mezonot.
That the Rambam is 3.
And you'll be hayav according to Chamavajah to do the Lishev BaSakukah on a Mezonot. That's exactly what I was telling you, that was the whole thing I told you, which was the Hidush today. You understand? This was new. 38 years old, I never heard this thing. A lot of things I never heard, but this was unbelievable. Because it happens. You know what happens on Sukkot? You go to all these parties. You're sitting there. You're eating constantly Mezonot. You're there for 3 hours. You're eating Mezonot. You're drinking. The guy's filled.
Right, for Hamotzi, you need to have 4 companies.
He would not. The guy's not then going to the Hamotzi level.
It's not so hard, you should know. Even this big thing over here that I have before.
Yeah.
This one person, I wonder how many grams this is.
Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be good to measure that. It's I would say if you guy had 4.
This might be close to 200 grams. This for sure we can make. I think you can make a.
You know, if a guy had 4 of those, 4 croissants.
Even less, I think.
Wouldn't you have to do even the
I think even less. I think even if
sorry, Motzi?
If he goes over the 200, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, 216.
This is, in Parakhet, he goes.
Yeah. So we said, well, Hamavajah's opinion was you should do it before Hamotzi, and then we're going to check up the halakha, Rabbi Mansour, what he says, and we're going to check up the salt. Can you talk between the salt? I remember him saying pretty clearly that you could talk if you need to say, ask me the salt. That was the whole hidush, that you could say it after the beracha hamotzi, and we'll check it to come back. Okay, let's look at Lishev BaSakukah. בברכת הסוכה צריך לומר השקט דשלום במצוותיו בצוונו לשב בסוכה, הלמד של לשב בחיריק. Okay, Lishev BaSakukah, not Lishev BaSakukah. Okay, השקט דשלום בצוונו Lishev BaSakukah. Lishev. How do you remember? Remember Li Lishmi. Okay, so remember Lishev BaSakukah. הלמד של לשב בחיריק, והיוד נחה. Okay, כמו לנטוע שמיים וליסוד ארץ. Okay, ומנהג בני אשכנז לומר לשב בסוכה הלמד בצרה. Okay, ברכת לשב כשאוכל בעמידה. Let's say a person is eating standing up. The common thing today, people love eating standing up. אדם שאינו יכול לשבת בסוכה מסיבה כלשהי ואוכל מעומד, אף על פי כן מברך לשב בסוכה. So here's a guy, he's only going to be standing up. He's going to make Lishev BaSakukah standing up, and he's yotzeh. He doesn't have to actually bend down and squat, I guess. שאין ישיבה אלא לשון עקבה. Okay, כמו שנאמר ותשבו בקדש ימים רבים, ואינו צריך לאנוס על עצמו לשבת משום נוסח הברכה. Says you don't need to do that. All right, Hamavajah did all the heavy lifting for us, and he made it easy. Okay, so you wanted to say something in regards to the kiddush in Parakhet. Let's take a look at that. Parakhet.
Something like that, because you think it's the chef to sit, but it's more like yishuv, like settle it.
Oh, very good, Lior. You bring in your Hebrew. That's right. Very good. I didn't think about that. Very nice. That's very nice. Let's take a look. Parakhet. Kol shiv'a achilat keva. Achot. סיום לאכול מפוסק. חייב במזונות. לימוד בסוכה. It doesn't bring it down here on the kiddush. Yeah. I don't see it on the kitzur. It doesn't bring it up. It seems that was the same. It seems he was saying that in both situations. I don't think the kiddush made any difference on it.
It says here,
yeah,
is in Yamanite is Baladi and Shami.
Mm-hmm.
So he said
the Syrian, the Syrian have Halabi and Shami.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the Yemenite have Baladi Shami. And then what did the Persian have? What have Teherani, Shirazi, Teherani, Isfahani, yeah.
So he said the Baladi and some of the Shami also. Every time you go to the sukkah, even if you don't eat, you say bracha. You don't eat, you don't drink, you say Lishev BaSakukah. Every time you go to the sukkah.
The Baladi and Shami.
50 times.
Is this Rabbi Korach? Who told you this one? It's Rav Korach?
It says Ma'arif, but I think
Rabbi Korach. He's every time you bring me something from Rabbi Korach, is always
this book,
oh, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna bring it. Let's do it. It's right here. I'm actually gonna do it on our next thing right here.
He says that if you go just to bring like something or whatever from the house, no. But if you going to say hi to your friend, the sukkah neighbor, you go to Lishev BaSakukah and you see it, you go out.
Say midrat keva, Lishev midrat arai.
So really, this goes against kind of safek b'chot la'aken. This one you could go out and say this.
You don't realize when you see tomorrow the sigulot I'm going to give you for Sukkot, that if that person sits in the sukkah, you're gonna want to live in your sukkah for the next week. I'm not kidding. The stuff that comes from it.
And Florida.
Yeah, Florida. Listen,
go 2 years ago in Montreal.
listen. It's I've never seen snow Sukkot. That Baruch Hashem, New York, we never had that. But here in Miami, Baruch Hashem, I learned that over here they build unbelievable Sukkot, the insulated ones. The guy's building me one, an insulated sukkah with an AC in it. Hadid. You sit in the sukkah, they 60 degrees inside because they put you this diesel-powered, gas-powered AC outside. Now you sit in your sukkah, it's 95 degrees, 100% humidity in Miami, and you sit in your sukkah, it's Gan Eden over there. Gan Eden, you sit there. I went the first time, when someone does something good, you should mention it. I went to this guy, Shlomi Katan, from the Chabad, when they first came. And I went to the sukkah. Yeah, he's on my block, on Carlisle. And I went in there, and I went in the sukkah, and I was like, whoa. I was like, I have to do this. I stayed in that sukkah for an hour. It was so hot that day. I sat there. He brought some scotch. He brought me things. It was one of the first sukkot I did here in Miami when I came. And I'm like, Katan. I'm like, he's like, yeah, I'm in charge of the Chabad over here. I was like, okay. I was like, it's funny. I'm like, because we have the Katan family. They're all like Halabi Syrian. He goes, I'm Syrian.
No way.
I go, no. I go, you got to be kidding me. He goes, I am Syrian Halabi. I go, but you look like you're a full-fledged Chabadnik. I'm like, yeah, CC sticking out. I'm like, you're old. He goes, yeah. I married Chabad. I did Chabad customs, and I'm Chabad. And I think it's funny. The best of the Chabad running the largest Chabad, I think, outside of 770, the Shula Bell Harbor, is a Syrian Halabi in disguise. Unbelievable. Look at this. This is Malchut ben David, The Syrians were from the Sen Malchut ben David. It's the joke of how the Catholic Church in France had like one of the archdiocese or the bishops died a couple of years ago. I don't know, maybe after 2000 something, from 2000, I don't remember the exact year, maybe 2004. He died, and he found out at the end of his life that he was Jewish. That after the Holocaust, now what happened? After the Holocaust, you see Rav Yitzhak Herzog Halevi. This is sad. I hope I don't tear up on this one. Rav Yitzhak Herzog Halevi, he had become one of the chief rabbis in Israel, and he was Irish. He used to wear a top hat. He used to dress like a real Talmid Hacham, beautiful dress. He always walked around with a Tanakh under his arm. He had come to Chicago, and Rabbi Beryl Wine says over that when he came to Chicago, he spoke to the people, and he spoke in a beautiful Irish accented English. And he said, gentlemen, before the war, many Jewish families went to the church and delivered to them over 2,000 Jewish children for them to protect. After the war, the church had protected these children, and the families that survived, those that did survive, and the rabbis that were around to help with this, they went back to the Vatican and to the Pope, and they said, can you give us back the 2,000 children? And he said no. The Pope was very, very against it, and he said, if they already became baptized, they're Christian children, we cannot give them back. So Rabbi Yitzhak Herzog Halevi came to Chicago, and Rabbi Beryl Wine was there. He banged and he started crying. He was crying, tears. He said, what are we going to do? There's 2,000 children today, and this was in the 50s, that are in the church, they know they're Jewish. The boys, some of them are well educated. They were 7, 10 years old, whatever. They knew that they were Jewish. And he goes, there's 2,000 Jewish boys that are now in Christians' hands, and we cannot get them back. He goes, what are you going to do now for the Jewish people? What are each one of you going to do to save the Jewish people from this happening ever again? This was Rabbi Yitzhak. He spoke to the entire Chicago Jewish community when he came in the 1950s. And Rabbi Beryl Wine was a young child. So after the speech, he was just mesmerized that a rabbi that randomly comes in, broke down in tears, warning everybody that you have to do something to save the Jewish people. And he was so inspired, he ended up becoming a lawyer, Rabbi Belwine, but then he ended up becoming a rabbi and educating himself. He went from business to becoming Tamir Hacham. He opened up his own organization called Destiny. And he says, Rabbi Belwine, when he went to go shake the rabbi's hand, the rabbi would shake everybody's hand, and he looked at him straight and he said, what are you going to do for the Jewish people? Don't forget what I said to you. I said, you're going to grow up one day, you have to do something. And this is, and when I,
How old he was?
maybe 5 or 7 years old, Rabbi Belwine, and he speaks about it. I heard him say it when he was 80, 75 years after I heard him say it. And when he said the story, I'm not kidding, I felt like I was in the audience of Rabbi Yitzhak Herzog Halevi. He was talking about the Murex trunculus, the Techelet, and the Radzina Rebbe, the different Techelis, and he brought in this story because Rabbi Yitzhak Herzog Halevi was very keen on it being the Murex trunculus snail, as being the Techelet. But that's another discussion. But the message from this was, what are you doing for the Jewish people? And the church ended up taking these 2,000 kids. They never came back. He couldn't do anything. It was.
You tell me the story about how the rabbi was.
So let's go back 1 second. Let's go back. So one of the kids was the bishop and became the archdiocese of something of France, meaning he was the highest authority in the entire territory of France for the church. He found out that it was like that he was one of those boys, and he was Jewish. He got it. He got the information. He was there long enough. They trusted him. He was an old man. You know what he told them? He said, okay, bury me with the Jews then and say Kaddish. And no joke, they buried him in the Jewish cemetery with Kaddish, the whole cross ceremony, the whole thing. Because this was his will. He didn't want to be a Catholic. The guy would have given up in a minute. He just didn't this is what he was. But now that he found out the truth, he said, this is the truth. I'm emet. I don't want that. He found at the end of his life. At the end of his life, he found out.
So he put it on his will.
And they buried him with the Kaddish and everything. It was well known. It was written about it when they did it in France. I don't know where exactly. I didn't visit or check that out or research it. But just to go to show you that this was.
But did you find?
I don't know what he did, but I'm someone who says that he wants to be buried in a Jewish cemetery in Kaddish with 50, 60, 70 years of this Avodah Zarah. That's the biggest teshuvah you can, because you know what he's doing? He's cooking reset. It's like a person 80 years old who did something wrong, and he said, I messed up, reset. Erase it all, let me do what I believe was right from the beginning, which is huge. It's a huge thing. So with that, I think that we'll go to the next part. But this is the message of Rabbi Herzog, is that what are you doing for the Jewish people? And I think about this every single day. One of my rabbis, Rabbi Daniel Gladstein, who's also a big fan of Rabbi Beryl Wine, finds a lot of favor in my eyes, all the ways that he teach. And we both think about this all the time. What are you doing for the Jewish people? And I think about that every day. I said to him, what am I doing to give back? Because the fact that we're here today was because there was a big Baal Chesed who decided to build up this place here. You understand? And so what am I doing? Now, a person could say I might be limited in money, but you're not limited.
Somebody suffered. Whatever came, let's say Rabbi Lipsky, he came here, nothing was here.
Nothing.
And he built it, and now you're comfortable. Now what are you going to do that the next generation
is going to be more comfortable? So I took the easy route. Or the easy, I don't know if the easy. I figured that learning and teaching Torah and financing Torah is the ikar. I don't think anyone's going to talk about the carnival on Purim in 50 years from now, but they will talk about the Hidushim that we said. And so I'm pretty sure of it, because I never read any sefer that spoke about some carnival they did in the shul from 300 years ago. And that it never became. But it was always, the guys who were learning, the guys who came up with Hidushim, who researched Amid Batorah, those are the ones that's still around. Yaakov Avinu lo met. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.